Hello everybody, my name's Lee Foster Wilson and I'm an artist and illustrator from Cornwall in the UK. Welcome to the June edition of my studio vlog. I hope you've had a good June. I was lucky enough to get away to the French Alps at the beginning of the month for my cousin's wedding and it was absolutely stunning. And the mountains and the villages, just beautiful. This is the view from our chalet, isn't it beautiful? We arrived there in the dark and woke up in the morning and this view was there to greet us. It was just lovely. So nice to be away with family and friends, and here's me in the Alps just as some proof. To be honest though, since I've got back, I've actually found it quite hard to get back into work, especially creative work. So this vlog is kind of all about how I figured out what was holding me back and what I've been doing to overcome that and get back into the swing of things. Starts off with a little bit of shop stuff, and then I do some illustrative work. I work on another bird drawing, and then I go a bit more into the fine art I've been doing and talk about the ideas behind that and where I'm coming from with all of that. So it's a little bit of a longer one. If you want to stick it on while you're working or grab a snack and a cup of tea and settle in, then do that. I hope you enjoy it and I will see you soon. Bye. In shop news, I had the great pleasure this month of sending off loads of these little guys to the States for somebody's wedding. It's such a nice feeling to know that my work is going to be a part of somebody's big day like this. And in other shop things, I have sent things off to far-flung places this month, like Puerto Rico, Brazil, Costa Rica, Saudi Arabia. It's really funny to think of things from my studio being so far away. I've also been working on getting these banners finished for the Bombay Forest website. It's having a big overhaul and it's really nearly finished. The iPad's such a great tool for making graphics like this really quickly. But yeah, it's so nearly done. My husband's a web developer and we've been working on it together for about 10 months now, which is a ridiculous amount of time to be working on something, but he's a busy man and it's a little bit like the story of the cobbler's children having no shoes. We're so nearly finished and I can't wait to be able to launch it. And this is just a little taste of it. It's much more colourful and fun and friendly than the one I've got now. It should be ready really soon. So anyway, I'd been plugging away with all that admin, and as I mentioned in the intro, I was finding it really difficult to get back into making art, like doing anything to avoid it, tidying, accounts, that sort of thing. Always know something's up when I'd rather tidy or do my accounts. But thankfully I have my birds project on the go, which I've talked about before. It's kind of nice to have this sort of ongoing project in the background to fall back on if you're feeling a bit stuck for ideas. So after lots of procrastinating, I started to draw this little thrush. And I realised that I was procrastinating and why when I also got back into doing my morning pages. I don't know if you've heard of them at all, but they're an exercise from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I've been neglecting to do them while we were away and I hadn't picked it up again when we got back. And I realised when I got back into it how valuable I find them for decluttering my mind. It's essentially just 3 pages each morning of longhand handwriting about whatever pops into your head, and it's really impressive how much it helps. Mine often start off really banal, but I find out by the end of each session I'm kind of really digging into stuff and working through things. So I was finding that getting back into drawing really hard, even just starting was really hard, but through doing the writing I realised I was actually feeling a bit of fear. Fear that I'd make a massive mistake and a mess and waste time, fear that I can't draw, fear that I'd hate what I produced. It was just manifesting itself in so many different ways. And I realised that the only way I was going to get over this was by just starting, which is, as we all know, really much easier said than done. But I had my little plans from when I started the bird project, and a song thrush on a pink background surrounded by geraniums seemed like pretty low-hanging fruit, especially because I'd drawn geraniums before. So I just got started and kept drawing. One of the ways I've found to overcome this fear and to keep the momentum going is just to keep drawing the same thing again and again, which is essentially what I've done here. You'll see in a minute that I've drawn this thrush, or not this particular thrush, but versions of it 3 times. And I just kept drawing the geraniums over and over again as well, just in slightly different positions, in a slightly different style, just to kind of really find my feet with them. And it works. I kind of managed to pull through the other side, and actually, I'm really pleased with these 3 pages that I've produced here, and they're ready to be taken on to doing the final thrush drawing, which I will scan in and turn into cards for the shop and maybe some prints, and I will send it to my agent as well, and hopefully she will be able to sell the drawing and make it work hard for its money. So after finishing my little thrush, although I've not done the final one yet, that's still to come, confidence is building, and I decided to do some of my stream of consciousness, I can't talk today, my stream of consciousness drawings, which I talked about in my last sketchbook tour, just drawing whatever comes to mind. And again, it's a really valuable exercise just to get pen to paper, really. I was working from these photographs I'd taken of flowers that I've blown up on my printer, and these are obviously not so illustrative, but they're for my bigger work and paintings that I'm getting back into doing, so lots of big shapes and colour. I've realised recently that I've always had the same sort of themes running through my work, which are those of nature and what we can learn from it, and now I just want to take that a bit further with these new pieces. So these sketches are the start of that, and I'm just playing with these forms, and I kind of have the feeling that I want to make work that celebrates the parts of the natural world that are vast and dramatic and beautiful and important to most of the world's species, but that as humans we kind of overlook, and we tread on it and we exploit it, that sort of thing. So instead of painting the landscapes that make us feel small, I kind of want to zoom right in and make us feel like even smaller. It's obviously a work in progress, but having that idea in my head is what's helping me to just create and to try and push through this fear barrier that I've been feeling. Also, making these as sketchbook pages, it doesn't really matter if I make a mistake. They're in my sketchbook and I'm pushing myself and just putting pen to paper, lowering my expectations, keeping those bigger ideas in mind, but really keeping expectations low. And then when a good moment happens, I can be happy with that. Obviously this isn't my greatest work, but it's just been really fun, and I'm really enjoying just playing with the texture of my pens and the colours and these bigger forms. They're really, really fun to do. So on top of doing these really playful, blobby, big shapes, another exercise that I've been finding really useful this month is kind of zooming in and photographing those little moments that are more successful. Look at these, they're from various different pages, but they're kind of like mini paintings in themselves. There's a lot to work with here. Another thing I've been doing that's helped me really push through this fear wall, because it is like a wall, and it will rebuild itself if you're not careful. And it's been making these backgrounds. I've been doing them for a while now, as you've noticed and might have seen in my other work. I think I mentioned it in my sketchbook tour as well. They're just such a great way to break into the blank page, which is also quite terrifying when you're feeling that creative fear. But they're just such a nice meditative, there I go again, a nice meditative exercise. And again, they're in my sketchbooks. I don't have to worry about stretching the paper or about it wrinkling up. They're just very fun to do. Again, through doing my morning pages, one of the things I've realised recently that I've always been drawn to is texture. Alongside my love of colour, texture's up there as a kind of heart-accelerating endorphin rush whenever I see a piece of art that has the kind of texture that appeals to me. It's that kind of painterly, brushy, haphazard texture that really makes my heart sing, and it's one of the reasons I'm trying to bring it back into my own work as well. I actually remember the first times that I saw the work of artists like Cy Twombly and Jean-Michel Basquiat and Patrick Heron, and I can clearly remember wanting to emulate their textures. Not the subject matter, but the textures themselves. They were just as important to me as the aesthetics. And I think I spent half of my student loan back in the day on oil sticks so I could get that like scratchy, oily look to my work. This new work is also all about the text, all the other stuff I talked about, but also textures and colours, and trying to get back to that, that painterly roots of all the work that I love. It might be based in nature, and the colours I'm using clearly aren't. But at the moment, I'm loving it, and there's nothing more deep to it than that. I've yet to make anything on these sketchbook pages yet, but I'm hoping that I'll be getting to that soon, and I'm sure I'll be showing you something next time. I hope so anyway, just as long as I can keep that little fear wall from building up again. But yeah, look at the state of it when I'm doing these though. I get so into it, and there's just lidless pens and pen lids just, everywhere. I mean, how many pen lids can one person hold in one hand? Talking of the backgrounds though, I also managed to work on the other piece of paper that was stretched to my drawing board. I don't know if you remember in my first vlog I talked about how I'd stretched 2 pieces of paper to my board and instantly regretted it the minute I started to work on one because it was kind of hard to reach. I really wanted to work on these backgrounds pretty much as soon as I'd made them, but they were too wet. And then I remembered I had this one just kicking around, and I just decided to go for it. Just picking out bits that I'd been working on in my sketchbook. Just using the sketches for what they should be used for, the basis of new work. This is what I made. This has the similar shapes and the layering. I really like this colour combination as well. I've been using the pinks and the blues a lot, and the yellow as well. But bringing the green in from the geraniums I've been drawing kind of really anchors it. And funnily enough, I don't normally use that sort of aqua blue either. It's one of those colours I just tend to shy away from. But it seems to really work with this colour combination. I like it a lot. So this is where I've been at this month, pushing down that wall of fear. I'm trying to go easy on myself with it, but also it just helps to keep putting paint to paper. If I leave a long gap, then I find that it just starts to build up again. So if anyone else has any other strategies for overcoming this kind of creative fear, then I'm all ears, so please do leave me a comment below. I've also written about it on my blog. It's a similar tale to the one here, but there may be some extra bits in there that I forgot to cover here that you might find useful. So here is this piece so far, the next bigger one that I've been making. I say so far because I'm not sure it's finished yet, but I'm really pleased with the texture. And on a completely different note, I will leave you with these two. They're my sister-in-law's horses and live in the field next to my house. Maisie, the grey one, is going to have a baby next year. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this month's vlog. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you soon.